So I am doing the oil change for the car, and this is what I found. Because the car has been leaking a bit of oil because of the washer that I didn't change it. This is how you see how important it is to replace the washer on the bolt for the CHR oil pan. And the reason that it looks that bad is because I didn't have a washer, so instead I used a washer that it was bigger than the one that it was supposed to have. This one is for a size M14, and the one that the car requires for this boat is at least an M12 for washers. So that is why. But I knew that, and I was able to order the M12 washers online. And this is where I'm going to show you what not to do and what can happen. And also to show you the size of the washers we have to use for the CHR. This is one of the oil pan drain plugs that I bought, and it turned out to be pretty good. It shows two here on the image, but they only send you one. So right now it says currently unavailable, but they're all over. Now you need to see the difference on something. You see this one is short. You see it's short, and it has a magnet right here. Now what I found out is that that magnet doesn't do much. Last time I did the oil change, it didn't show like it was dirty or picking up anything, so that didn't make much of a difference. And what I didn't like much, it was that the distance from here to here, it was too short. That's what I learned about that one. These are the washers that I bought, and I really like them a lot. They are really good, and they come inside one package. And they worked out pretty well. So going back to the bolts, you can see here different sizes. Remember to stay on the M12 times 1.25. That's the size, at least for the CHR I have. You see this one, it's longer, the distance from here to here, from the other one that I showed you. And like I'm telling you, this didn't make much of a difference. Another thing I like is that they also sell it in different colors. That's a nice option. The copper washers for the CHR, they don't work that well, because one of the things you don't want to do with the CHR oil plug is tighten it up too much. Copper washers require you to tighten them up a little bit more than what you would do with the other ones that I showed you. This ones. These ones are different because they have that blue thing on it. And that helps it seal more without putting much pressure or too much torque on these threads, because one thing I've noticed is that the oil pan threads, they were wearing out and becoming weak. So I don't want to keep messing them up and grinding them. So what I want on my bolt is more thread and a soft seal. I want more thread because I want to get more grip from the oil pan threads. Now in this part, I thought that the washer, the copper washer I put was gonna stop the leak, but I see that it didn't. It was leaking all over and it didn't work that well. Maybe because I didn't put that much of a pressure when I was tightening it up. But the thing is that you cannot over tight this drain plug. If not, you're gonna mess up the threads. And that is really going to mess things up. Here you can see the drain plug, the new one with the copper washer on it. And it looks great. I mean, it's working. It just didn't stop the leak the way I want it. And like I say, probably because I didn't put that much pressure on it. Because I don't want to over tight. And there was probably an opening around it. And that's what caused it to start leaking more. So what happened was that since I was ordering the other washer, I didn't have nothing. So I ended up putting a bit of silicone on that same copper washer. And at this time here, I'm just replacing the washer, but I'm still using the same drain plug. You see here, this is the new one that I was showing you that I bought, but just the washer didn't work out like I wanted. So I'm just going to replace the washer but keep the same bolt, because that drain plug has the threads. They are better than the one that the car came with. It just needs a new washer, and I think this one is gonna work out better because with this washer I don't have to put that much pressure when tying it up. And if you see here, it has two sides. One side is thicker than the other one. At the end, I don't know which one it is, so I'm just gonna go by my instinct and I'm just going to let it sit. Now this is another thing I wanted to show you. The drain plug on the right is the original from the car, and the drain plug on the left is the one that I bought new. The one on the right, the original, it's a bit longer than the other one, and I think it's a bit thicker also. But in this case, it doesn't matter much because the old drain plug has the threads a bit gone already, and that is why you probably need to replace your drain plug. Here I'm showing you a part that you should not buy for the CHR because it's not going to work on it. So I bought this one thinking that I was gonna be able to put a valve on it so I could just open the valve and close it every time I replace the oil. I'm like, this is gonna work out great. Let me order one of this. I'll just open the valve, drain the oil. But yeah, it didn't end up working out. I also had one of these. That's where I was gonna connect the hose when I was gonna do the oil changes. You see, with this, you just open it and close it, and that's how you do your oil changes faster, and you don't have to be removing no plugs at all. That was the purpose. Now this is the right size. This is an M12, and I had the new washers on it. But when I came and I started thinking, how was I going to install this? This is when I realized that, yeah, it's not gonna work out for the CHR, because once I take this out, you see, this one has the new washer and it's not leaking, nothing. You see, one of the things I wanted to do here is to install this thing right here. I wanted to put a bulb on it. But the problem is that I have that wall on the back. So if this goes inside, as I turn to try to tighten it up, it's gonna hit that. Just to get an idea. So I can't use it. I really wanted to use a valve system, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. In case somebody thinks about doing this, it's not gonna happen like this. If this valve was on this side, that would probably work. I can turn it and tighten it up, but just like this, it's not gonna work out. So yep, I wanted to connect it with a hose so it'll be easier for my oil changes. Now, another thing I noticed is that it was gonna stick out too much, and you don't want it also sticking out too much. So that is something to be concerned about. The position is just not too great, because if you hit a bump on the floor or something, it's just gonna probably break it off or something, and you don't really want to risk things like that. Cheapest alternative I found was this one, and yeah, it's super expensive, $50, but I think this one will definitely work, because this one is smaller, it's not sticking out too much, and it's just like a plug. So I think this will work out better, and as soon as I get some money, probably I'll buy it. Because another thing is that once I put this on, I'm planning on putting a bit of silicone on these threads, the high temperature silicone that you put on gaskets. I'm planning on putting it there when I put this on. That way it's gonna stay sealed. At least I know I'm not gonna have problems for the next 2 years before I plan on taking it off again. But I know I'm gonna be at least good for 2 years, and I don't want those threads to keep wearing out as I keep making oil changes, because I make oil changes almost every month or every 2 months. And then I'll just close it. And you always gotta make sure that you probably go to Harbor Freight or somewhere where you could get lots of these O-rings, and that will be the only thing that you will be replacing on this. So this is definitely a great tool to have for the CHR, a great part to have for the CHR. It works awesome. It's easier. You see, it includes this part that you screw in, and that's what pushes the valve more inside. It opens it so oil can come out. And once you unscrew this out, it shuts the valve off inside. And then you just put this cap back on, and you should be good to go. Now you see, this one also comes with this washer. Now I don't trust these washers too much though, also, even though this aluminum I think is softer than the one that it was the copper. But I think I'm gonna keep using the washers that I have. And that is it. This is another great website where you can order parts for the CHR. I think I found the drain plug here, and they have a whole bunch of other parts. And you see here, they have oil drain plugs. Now, be careful when you order in here. You really gotta be careful here when ordering, because it has parts from for the Japan model and the regular, but I don't think there's much of a difference on the drain plug. Just stay on the right measurements. You see, this one says the M12, the 1.25, and it's also telling you that the head size is 14 millimeter. The head size will be this size right here. So this one says it doesn't have the seal ring. I think it's without the washer, but the prices are not bad. This one looks like it's long. You see, this one has a rubber, probably a rubber seal. That one is not bad also. I think it worked out pretty good, but I prefer the ones that I got with the blue seal on them. The ones that I got, they're aluminum, but they have like this blue seal around it that it makes it better. And that's for the CHR right there.